Joining us tonight with more is Ken Cuccinelli, chair of the Election Transparency Initiative and former Deputy Secretary of Homeland Security under President Trump. Ken, welcome back. Always a pleasure. First off, your reaction to what we see in Arizona as folks in Maricopa County begin to hand count those 400,000 ballots.
You know, Carrie Lake said it in very simple terms in your clip there. And I think, given what's out, she should win the race along with Abe Hamada as the Attorney General candidate who's on her ticket. And Blake Masters is on the bubble for the Senate in terms of the votes that are out. But the concern, as always happens, and I run the Election Transparency Initiative, we're interested in confidence in the elections and the outcomes. And it shakes people's confidence when a quarter of the polling places in the biggest county in the state are having voting problems so bad and so preventable that people are leaving the polling place. You quoted an official who said, everybody who checked in had the opportunity to vote. And what he didn't tell you is that when you check in, if you leave and come back, they presume you did vote. So those people, many people left the lines because they were so long. And we hear this election after election. It's really kind of amazing that this can't get fixed. Whereas you look across the country in Florida, they had 6 million votes counted by 8 p.m. Eastern time. And I heard Carrie Lake mention at a different time, and I agree with her, that they should just abandon the system they have and use the Florida system because it works.
Yeah, and let's talk about that, the Florida system. What do you think they're doing right there?
Well, first of all, there is a little history there. They had Bush v. Gore 22 years ago, and they were humiliated in front of the world about how incompetent their system was. Jeb Bush was the governor at the time, and to his credit, he led a multi-year effort to improve their system. And elections are pretty complicated. They're not as simple as you might think. And it took them years to really improve their systems. And Ron DeSantis, when he became governor, saw they had other things to do. COVID revealed others. And so they've continued working on it. So they have a real head start on other states in modernizing their elections. And I would point out in both 2020 and this week, Florida was counted on election night with no major complaints from either side. And remember, it's the biggest swing state in the country. No major complaints. You compare that to the rampant incompetency in Pima County and Maricopa County that's been displayed in Arizona that is holding up this election. And frankly, whichever side loses is going to have some hard feelings. And that shakes confidence in our elections. It didn't need to be this way. I'm glad to hear Carrie Lake saying she'll fix it. Her opponent was running this, was asked to recuse herself. She's the Secretary of State, Katie Hobbs. I have not heard the same kind of commitment from Katie Hobbs to clean this up if she ends up winning the race.
Ken, I want to switch gears here for a minute. Your former boss, President Trump, as you know, is poised to make a big announcement on Tuesday. Of course, the speculation is that he will run again for president. That said, he has received quite a bit of criticism for the outcome of the midterm so far, and many feel it's time for him to step aside. I want to get your thoughts on all of this.
Well, he's a very determined individual, and that's one of the things that has allowed him to do some of what he's done. But even if he wins, he only gets one more term because the 22nd Amendment limits people to 2 terms as president. I think until just about 8 o'clock on Tuesday, the biggest question in the Republican nomination was, when will Trump announce? I think people are pretty convinced he's going to do it. But around 8 o'clock, that question was dropped to number 2. And the new number 1 question is, will DeSantis announce and run? And, that is really dominating a lot of thinking, largely on performance. Look, he won a swing state by 19.5 points, and he has done governance-wise and management-wise everything right. And I think in 24, we're headed for an election that is going to focus more than you and I can ever remember on competency. And Ron DeSantis, as the governor of Florida, with both COVID and hurricanes and tropical storms and all the rest, has handled all of it spectacularly well, and that is resonating beyond just Republicans.
Well, Ken, we are going to leave it right there. Thank you so much, as always, for your insights. Always appreciate it.